they log off. So you've lost those sales.
Yeah.
And,
so if a company's doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, that's a lot of money they're losing.
It's a lot of money. 2 to 4%. Didn't even try. They say it's a pain in the neck and I always fail and I can't tell where the stop sign is. And up to 29% fail on the first attempt, and there's a drop off there. And then
that is Bill West. He is the founder of Human Presence. And the exchange you just heard between the two of us is he solves a problem that the entire world just about hates. If you can't stand picking out the palm trees or the bicycles or the buses on CAPTCHA when you're trying to buy a product on a website, he gets rid of that. His technology eliminates that. So as consumers, we can't stand it. But as business owners, you need to rethink about this because that CAPTCHA is costing you sales. It's friction in your sales process. Now, you're listening to the CloseTheDeal.com podcast. I'm your host, Ewell Smith, and we're speaking with entrepreneurs and franchisers, and they're sharing their stories of success and their challenges, the failures, to guide you. And in this episode, Bill is going to share how he is making your life a little easier, getting rid of CAPTCHA. And look, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what this technology does. Now let's begin the show. Bill, I want to welcome you to the CloseTheDeal.com podcast. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Ewell. It's great knowing you all these years.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We had some fun working on some tech projects. You're in Greenville, South Carolina. Man, that town is happening. It has become, with Euphoria, the Food and Wine Festival that we got, all the restaurants, it's become a foodie town. What is your favorite place to take a client to do business, to close the deal?
Yeah.
To play.
And you're right. Greenville is incredible. We're originally from New Jersey, and I went to college and lived in the Bronx during my college years. Quite a change to Greenville, but Greenville, we've been here 33 years now, and it's changed dramatically. It's a beautiful town. You're right. The food world is incredible. And unfortunately, I took the opposite. I'd say 90% of my meetings, whether it's for fundraising or whatever, is at a Starbucks or a coffee shop of some sort. I think I'm going for quick hits now with fundraising or something like that. A lot of it was Starbucks. When I was out selling and earlier in my career, I sold timeshare computer services, and a lot of those were either at a coffee shop. That was in New Jersey, or in the guy's office. And now that I'm out raising money for the company, it's wherever they want. I will meet with them, If they have their checkbook, I will meet them.
And you and I had a few meetings at the coffee shops ourselves.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah. It seems to work. I'm not killing somebody's afternoon or whatever. So, that seems to work pretty well. And for fundraising, if they want to meet outside the coffee shop in the rain, yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah. Let's just do that.
There you go. And you're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
All right. What are you grateful for from the past that helped you get where you are today, Bill?
Yeah, a couple things. When I got out of college, I was not rudderless, but I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player forever. I sat on the bench for one season. I said, yeah, probably not. This is not going to be a lifetime thing. So a friend of mine convinced me to get an MBA in finance, which I did. And that was a game changer for me. It gave me some serious credibility. And then the guy that hired me, AT&T, had a massive effect on me. When I left the timeshare computer business and went to AT&T, I was really able to have a career. We had a young family with young children, and they were very intelligent, and I felt that they probably want to go to college, and I'm going to have to stroke some big checks. That was plenty of incentive to get going. But he had a lot of impact on me. And then I got recruited out of AT&T by a guy named Phil Reed, and he had started Computerland, and I had read a book about him. And then all of a sudden he calls me and says, could we meet for dinner? And he flew in from California to New Jersey and offered me a job as president of one of his new companies. And that made me understand the power of being an entrepreneur. You control your own destiny. If you build an asset, you could make some serious money in the exit. And I understood entrepreneurship, and I never turned back. I've been an entrepreneur ever since.
And you went from managing how many people at AT&T to being an entrepreneur?
About 16,000. And then, then when I came here, then it was a handful of people, and I was putting the trash out at night. Yeah, a little different deal.
Now you're on what company are you on now? You've had some good buyouts. Which version are you on now? Which version are you on?
I came here to join a paging company, and I was president and COO of that, and we built that up by acquisition, and we were buying paging companies all over the Southeast. So we had about a 75% market share in 13 states down here for beepers.
Wow.
But then when beepers were going to die, we went out and borrowed a ton of money. I went gray in about an hour and a half. And we started buying the two-way radio licenses, taxis, ambulances, things like that. And we owned almost all of the licenses in the 13 states. And Nextel needed those licenses to have a nationwide footprint. We were able to sell to them, and we sold the paging company a separate transaction, but that was a good day. And then I did the same thing with another guy who had a lot of influence on me, Mike Green, a good guy. And we had the cellular licenses for South Carolina, and we sold prepaid phones. And there's a little sales thing, Ewell. Everybody was selling monthly subscriptions for cell phones just like they are now. But when we looked at it, we saw the rest of the planet sold prepaid phones. You bought a phone for a certain price, and then you go to a deli or a grocery store or somewhere and you buy minutes for your phone. I want to buy 30 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. And it's good for controlling kids' usage, but it was a cheap and nice way to do it. So we went with that approach. And then it really becomes a point of sale type of marketing situation where we signed up every Spinks, or 285 Spinks gas stations and food marts and convenience stores. We had the buy low supermarkets. We had every pawn shop and beauty parlor that was selling our phones. And so people come back to the deli or come back to the beauty parlor and they buy more minutes. And we built a night business like that, totally different from everybody else. But we were able to sell that after about probably 7-9 years, something like that. That was another nice exit. And then I had a really nice consulting business that I wound up selling to the managers of each of our offices, Utah, California, because I was just getting sick of travel.
Sure. So, and now you're on, what version of Bill are you on now? Because if you've got, what's this, your fifth company now that
Probably
you're on, a sixth
fifth
company?
or sixth, something like that. Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I'll tell you how we got into this. And I think we've spoken about this in our.
And what's the problem what's the problem that you, the very specific moment that you had?
Yeah, this is the grandpa version of Bill West, where I had a hard time solving those squiggly little CAPTCHA things where you want to get on a website, or even worse, which pictures have a stop sign in it or a dog or whatever. I'd fail miserably. We have an alternative technology where, as someone is just browsing a website, we collect the timing and movement behavioral events, length of a keystroke down, keystroke up, time between keystrokes, mouse movements, touches, swipes, everything. 53 measurements at all. And we have now billions of human website sessions recorded. So we know the range of human behavior. And if someone is performing their keystrokes and everything within that range, we assume they're a human. If they're outside of the range, and
So
bots are usually very low, then we assume they're bots. So without testing anybody, we can tell if you're a human or a bot, and we, toss the bots and let the humans go on and shop.
and so you were talking about the CAPTCHA. Everybody
Yes.
hates CAPTCHA.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what you were struggling with, and
We displace
that
it
was the
now.
problem that you saw.
We can allow a
Yeah, so
customer to
there's
get
no
rid of it.
need for CAPTCHA.
Right.
Yeah, and that, and I know you've got some data on it. One of your friends, clients, once you all figured out how to do this, what percent of sales was he? He had a big company for internet sales, and CAPTCHA was costing him sales. People don't think of it in that term. They just think of it as the consumer just thinks of it as an aggravation. But from a business perspective, people are losing. It's friction in
It's
the sales.
yeah, 2 to 4% of people, as soon as they see the CAPTCHA, they log off. So you've lost those sales.
Yeah.
And
So if a company's doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, that's a lot of money they're losing.
it's a lot of money. 2 to 4% didn't even try. They say it's a pain in the neck, and I always fail,
Yeah.
and I can't tell where the stop sign is. And up to 29% fail on the first attempt, and there's a drop off there. And then the other side of it,
Wow.
bots can break CAPTCHA pretty easy. They know how to beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting in anyhow, and you're annoying your customers. So, and then the bots cause all kinds of problems with fake checkouts and all that kind of stuff. And the biggest problems are not stolen goods, it's form spam. We have a number of forms, whether it's for, our mailing list or comments or whatever, and bots just put advertising in there. You're going through a bunch of things, real product reviews, and all of a sudden somebody puts a spam item in there. And so that costs retailers real money, and that they have to have a human being go through and read the comment sections every night, the product reviews, and delete the ones that are clearly not comments. So there's a cost there for a customer too. So we do it totally invisibly behind the scene. We see if you're behaving within human movement parameters, and we toss everybody who isn't. Now, we've seen bots. One of the questions come up is, couldn't the bot fake it? And we do 53 measurements, and the bots do trick us every now and then, but they're only on 2 or 3, 4 measurements. We have 53, and we take them all into consideration for our algorithm. We're very confident that we're catching everybody.
So you can tell me how long my pinky takes to go hit the L key and come off the L key? Is that what you're telling me? That so you can measure all my every keystroke I make?
Right. All keys are
that's the way I'm
in a certain
understanding.
parameter. If it's 9 milliseconds, for example, for a keystroke, the bots, when they're mimicking it, are electronic. So they're like 1/100th of a millisecond. It's not even close to human behavior.
What about the mouse pad? Did they, whether they swiping left, right, up and north, south?
Yeah,
You can
we
tell.
see how long it takes because the bots are just mimicking a mouse movement.
And the name of that company is Human Presence.
Yeah, the overall company is
'Cause-
Ellipsis. We have Human Presence, and now we've been experimenting with human health, which is, I'll talk about that for a second. Using the same
Yeah,
data.
this is the next version. So I've watched you transition. I watched you start the company in all the conversations we've had. And then you've recently brought in a CEO to help run that division. Now you're focusing your attention on the health side.
Yeah,
What is that?
that's using the same data collection method, but instead of it sending it to our algorithm,
Okay.
we just store it. So if you log on today, we store your movement characteristics. You log on tomorrow, we store your movement characteristics. A week from now, we do it again. And so we know roughly your range of movement in what is healthy, just your normal movement characteristics. Then we have neuroscientists that are going to build algorithms to see if you're deviating. So it would be an early warning system for a cognitive issue. whether it's a military issue where somebody is firing a weapon off their shoulder and they're having some brain damage, sports injuries, kids that play sports. We know what their normal behavior is, and we can see if it's degrading based on either a weapon or sports or some other, or just age. That's the next thing we're working on right now. So that would be human health. We're negotiating with a potential partner right now that would take it. They're in the medical analysis business. Yeah, I think that could have a lot of impact especially with all the head injuries kids are having with sports and adults as well, college kids and the like.
Your technology, but I'm understanding it learns the persona or the person that you use in that particular computer.
It's just recording their movement characteristics and seeing the range of movement that they have. And if there's a deviation if you typed in today and we're on a website, and again tomorrow, your characteristics are going to be identical. But let's say 3 months from now, you get hit in the head or something, or you just get old, you can see a degradation in your movement. And that's all we're doing. We're just seeing a degradation from what was your norm for the period of time we collected the data.
And that helps predict possible health issues, concerns.
It could be a sports injury, could be a military. Yeah. It could be just age.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an early warning system. We're not neuroscientists or neurosurgeons, so we're saying we'll give you an early warning system, and all we're saying is you may want to get in and get checked.
Human presence is just the CAPTCHA piece in the bots and the forms. This is a whole nother element. This is the medical side of it.
Yeah.
What applications? You mentioned the military. You mentioned sports. Are there other applications y'all considering as well where it makes sense?
Senior citizens.
Okay. Any kind of trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have an auto accident or something, you may want to, we'd have to have collected your data beforehand. You can't after the injury. We'd know it. You can see if it's getting worse. But it's all theoretical now. We've just had neuroscientists playing with a little. They all say it's very possible. They have preliminary models, but they say they need to take it to the next step. So just like any business, Ewell, at that point, we're out raising money or looking for financial partners right now, because it's, to hire neuroscientists, they're not free. So that's where we are now.
And you're in process.
So we're working.
And how far along are you all?
We have
the
data
close to launching, or still research stage?
So we have the data collection method built. So we're collecting the data and we can store it by individual in a time series. Now we're looking for somebody to confirm that they could build a model. We have some preliminary views of it by a number of people, and build the model and then launch. And then it's going to be some funding to launch too. So we're working with a group in Maryland right now, and another group in India. And hopefully we can, as those come together, the group in India is in the medical analysis business. They have a wonderful business in India, and they have neuroscientists on staff. So that would be very helpful.
Are you talking to certain universities or the FL as well?
No, right now we're talking to a university in Maryland, and they have an innovation center, and they have some people who seem extremely bright. That's the first step, and that's going to start out with mostly human presence up there, and to grow right now. And I think we've talked about this when we first started out. Ewell, we were selling human presence to large IT departments, and to put it on their website, and we had a heck of a time breaking in past existing cybersecurity contracts with IBM or Cisco or whoever. We started selling to operating executives, and we ran into the same roadblocks. So that's why we pivoted totally, and we sell as an app to small e-commerce companies through Shopify or WordPress or WooCommerce or Drupal, Magento. And the marketing then is not face-to-face, as I told you, by any means. It's content marketing, Facebook ads, email outreach, Google ads, and things like that. So it's just blocking and tackling production of those type of items. And we drive people to either our own website where you could buy the product or the website of our channel partners. Shopify has an app store. WooCommerce has a marketplace. And that's where we want people to go in there, and they can just attach it to their store at that point.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about a tech model. How many people do you actually communicate with to sell your product?
None.
That's a fascinating thing to me.
None. I've never spoken to anybody from Facebook or Google.
Yeah. So if you're using Shopify as a consumer, you're not having to worry about CAPTCHA on your website.
Yeah. And CAPTCHA comes standard with Shopify. That's the default bot protection. So we displace that, which is within there. But then we put some specific wrinkles on the product beyond just displacing CAPTCHA. We have specific form spam protection. We protect the forms individually, so we don't let them in. If they're behaving, we kick them off the form right away. And the same with checkout. There are bot-based checkouts where somebody will come in with fake credit cards and bots, and they're just attacking 1,000 sites all at once and trying to buy things with fake credit cards. So we protect from that, and we block them, put the inventory back in stock, send a letter to the bot company saying, we caught you. It's gone a lot more than just CAPTCHA displacement with the form spam and checkout protection and the like, because the customers, when we first started out, were telling us, sure, CAPTCHA is a problem and it's costing us business, but we have these other bot problems too. So we've expanded to handle those as well.
I want to ask you this question. What somebody considering entrepreneurship, because you've had the entire journey other than AT&T has been entrepreneurship just about. What's your guidance for someone to reach their potential and so that they could realize their possibilities for their life? What's your number one piece of guidance there?
One thing that'll keep you focused is having intelligent children who start taking up brochures for Harvard and Duke and the like. And you say, I don't think I can do this on a salary. I need to have a couple home runs here. So that was the big incentive for me. Had my wife homeschooled some of our children and educated them and oversaw their education. Unfortunately, Ewell, she was very good at it. They all got into extraordinarily expensive colleges. And now we're raising our granddaughter, who helped me out with the microphone a little earlier. And
the tech guy needs help with the microphone with his granddaughter. That's good.
Yeah. And she's saying, I think I might want to go to MIT. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. You just keep writing checks. That was the biggest incentive, and is to make that happen.
It made you hungry.
Yeah.
It made you hungry.
Yeah.
And you found a very creative way to solve that.
Because as young people today that are burdened with debt, you just never get out of that. You're fighting that for the rest of your life. I really wanted our kids to avoid that and our grandchildren to avoid that.
Call to action. Where does somebody go to find human presence? And if somebody wants to invest in your business, where do they go? So what's your call to action?
We think we have a really good business, but it's blocking and tackling at this point. It was our first phase was just pure technology build and making sure and proof of concept and seeing that it worked and trialing it. Then when we were selling to large corporations and coming up empty, that was another whole project. Right now, it's with the apps. The game is to get on as many app channels, and there's dozens and dozens of e-commerce app channels out there. WooCommerce, there's a bunch of them. And I think it's the model of when Starbucks had one store in Seattle, it was a cute store. But if people didn't buy coffee that month, you had a bad month. When you have 18 gazillion stores all over the world, Seattle could have a bad month. Maybe Boise, Idaho sold a lot of coffee. And the same as any strategy. So our strategy now is, how do we get this app on as many app channels as possible? we are raising money for that right now to have some. It's not high tech development, but just building the front end for new channels, and it's all connected with API hooks. So that's the next challenge, and then the money to do AdWords and content and email distribution specific for each channel, because you're driving them to that specific channel. So if you do an ad about the power of protecting from spam bots for Shopify, you're not really selling anybody for any of the other channels. So you have to have almost specific marketing campaign for every channel. And so we're out raising money for that right now. And then human health is another whole effort that when we have the plan fully together, and if we can work this deal with the Indian company, we have something.
All right. And I know you go to Shopify, or you're going to be introduced to your product. What about WordPress?
We have an app in the WordPress store, and we sell it directly. WooCommerce is their e-commerce arm, and we also just introduced our app there. Drupal Commerce is a nice size channel. We're in there, and Magento Commerce, we're there. Shopify users find us in the Shopify store, but as I said, there's dozens more. We want to get them.
I'm gonna make sure people find you.
Yeah,
because people hate it. I hate CAPTCHA. Everybody hates CAPTCHA, and you're solving a problem just about that's universal across the entire globe.
If you read the product reviews, the customers are saying that their sales have gone up dramatically, and it's the only thing they did. And also the labor-intensive spam bot searches that they did every afternoon, they don't do it anymore. So they saved a human being for 3 hours every afternoon.
Solved the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for your time. This has been very helpful. I think this episode, as the word continues to get out about your products and your service, it's going to help a lot of people, save a lot of time, and then help some companies save some lost sales. So thank you for your time, Bill.
Great.
I appreciate it.
Great, Ewell. And if you make your way up to Greenville again, we still have coffee here, so let me know.
Well, I'll be heading up that way. My wife is from the Carolinas, so you know that. So I appreciate it, Bill. Thanks.
We'll stop in, man. See you, Ewell.
Take care. And that is a wrap with Bill. And I can almost guarantee you can't stand CAPTCHA as much as I can. All right, look, if there's an opportunity here for you as well. Human presence is off and running. There's opportunity there on the predictive medicine side. If you're interested in that space, investing in that space, get in touch with me. Go to closethedeal.com, hit the contact us button. I will get in touch with you right away. I'll make the connection with Bill. We'll talk about it first. And this is a lot of opportunity there, because you saw the different verticals where his technology can help, which is significant. I want to thank you for being here. We keep growing. We've added the franchising piece, talking about that now, which complements the entrepreneurial piece, talking to people like Bill. And again, thank you. And last thing, be intentional and make today a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.